welcome today to our Federal Way Time Capsule event. This is a very historic day. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a student of history and a fan of history. In any conversation I normally have, we'll quickly get into the history of either the area that we're in, our nation, or our county, or the people involved. And so I just want to say thank you so much for coming today. I've got some introductions, but before I go any further, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here. Thank you so much for all the contributions of what we refer to as the artifacts. And the artifacts we do have contained in the PAC area. And so, well, the key thing today, and I think it's really important, is we safe socially distance. We want to make sure that everybody who comes here today goes away safe and healthy for them and their neighbors and their friends and family. So that's really critical. These are interesting times, aren't they? And they're interesting times. We're going to remember this for a long, long time, at least 30 years. And this is our 30-year anniversary. This is our 30th birthday. And so on our 30th anniversary, I thought it was altogether fitting and not only to reflect and document the last 30 years of our city, and that's really ultimately what this time capsule is about, but also communicate with our future residents 30 years in the future. Essentially today, we're launching a time machine. And as Wendy knows, I've got my wife Wendy and son Ben here. I love anything to do with time and time capsules, and this is really, if you think about it, a way of communicating with the future. We want our future citizens to know what our lives and our community was like in 2020, and we're all tied together in the span of history. I'd like to thank you once again for coming, either in person, socially distanced, and also on Facebook Live. We actually have a Facebook Live event in which folks that couldn't make it here today are here. It is a very positive sign that the new normal will not keep our neighbors and residents from gathering and celebrating as a community. Before I begin, I wanted to briefly recognize public officials and Friends of Federal Way, individual past public officials, that were instrumental in this effort. First, I would like to welcome my friend and mentor, King County Councilmember Pete von Reichbauer. Pete, thank you. We couldn't have this event without Pete, the street's named for him. So and next we've got my policy partners and my friends on the city council who are present, and they're just really, they work hard every day for you. We've had a couple of long meetings, and it seems like with Zoom the meetings are getting a little bit longer. We had one meeting where I think we were 5 hours in. This week's meeting was about 3 hours, but they're working hard for you every day, and I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to them. We've got Councilmember Lydia Acefa-Dawson. Councilmember Martin Moore. Councilmember Hong Tran. Councilmember Greg Baruso. And our friend and colleague, Council President Honda, couldn't be here today. She had a conflict. But I want to say a special, and we've got Council President Honda couldn't be here, but I want to say a special thank you to her for all of her extra work and contribution in helping this event go. Let's give Susan Honda a big round of applause. And we've got our council member, former state representative, former mayor, Linda Kochmar in the audience. We also have our newly elected, and he was appointed but now elected in his own right, former city council member and now state representative Jesse Johnson. And we have Claire Wilson, our state senator. Thank you, Claire, for all your hard work. And let's see here. We've got Judge Dave Larson. Your Honor. He works really hard. Judge Robertson couldn't be here, but we thank her. We also have former Mayor Gene Burbidge. And I should say also a long-term city council member as well. I always tease and really remind former Mayor Burbidge that when I first got involved in city government, she was the mayor, and she really inspired me to get into city government and to do the things we're doing now. So thank you, Gene. We also have former Mayor Michael Park. Let's give him a big... And actually, he had the distinction of being mayor on 2 separate distinct occasions, and I always refer to him as Mr. Mayor. I always tell him when we're at meetings, I learned everything I need to know by being his deputy mayor for 2 years. So thank you, sir. And we have former mayor and former council member Mary Gates. Thank you, Mary. And our South King County Fire and Rescue Chair, Bill Gates. And I don't know if Chief Pennington made it, but he came by the other day. Hey, Vic, Chief Pennington. So let's see here. Dr. Tammy Campbell came by the other day. Thank you, Dr. Campbell, for your contribution. We've got Lakeisha Phillips, our school board director. She's in the back. Thank you, Lakeisha. We've got a representative from the greater, I got to say it just the way she says it, from the greater Federal Way Chamber of Commerce, Becca Martin. Becca, Princess Wave. And I'd also, there's a really special thank you. I want to let me make sure. We've got our Lakehaven Utility District Commissioners, Len England. Hi, Len. Peter Sanchez. Hi, Peter. Laura Belvin. And I want to say, there are so many people. You know, I'm going to miss people, and I just know that I really appreciate all your teamwork and all your assistance. I also want to say a very special thank you to our very next speaker, and that's I'll give some remarks here in a few moments after she talks, but the president of our Historical Society and former City Council member Diana Noble Gulliford of the Federal Way Historical Society. Let's give Diana a big round of applause. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Diana for some brief remarks. I want to say thank you very much for coming. And after Diana speaks for a few minutes, I've got some closing remarks. Come on up.
Well, can you hear me? I don't know if I can reach it. Oh, thanks. I'm going to be really brief here. Again, I'm Diana Noble Gulliford, president of the Historical Society of Federal Way. We are a volunteer organization, a nonprofit. We're over at the Steel Lake Park in the brick building there. One of our mission statement is to preserve our history for future generations. And that is exactly what this time capsule does. It is preserving a picture of our history in Federal Way 2020, which is a historical year already, for future generations. To be able to be the caretakers of that history, we take it very seriously, and but we couldn't do it without each and every one of you that contributes to the artifacts or the stories or the pictures. So this is a very exciting time for our organization, and I hope that we have many more time capsules of Federal Way as we move forward to become an established city, and we meet our dreams and the vision of the people of Federal Way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. You know, in a sense, we're all time travelers, aren't we? If you really think about whether it's stories that you tell, or people that we know, and the connections that we make, and the lives that we lead, we all are, in a sense, time travelers. Some of us will be there in 30 years. Some of us may not. I'll be 84 years old in 30 years, and who knows? Maybe they'll have to wheel me in. My son Benjamin, who's 13, will be 43 years old. This is an opportunity for us to take stock. I do want to, the reason why we had the event right here is that the plaque for our time capsule is going to be attached to a rock right here outside the pack, right in this area. And this is a replica of the plaque. It'll be a bronze plaque affixed to the rock. It'll be here overlooking Town Square Park. Now, we didn't, because of we want to make sure that the time capsule gets to the next to 2050. So we're going to bury the time capsule in Town Square Park at what they refer to as an undisclosed location. Now, the important thing is that we know where it's at and we can find it, or the people, the mayor and the city council and the staff can find it 30 years from now. So we'll have multiple redundancies. But we also want to make sure that it does get to 2050. And so the plaque says Time Capsule 2050. Again, it'll be right here for everybody who enjoys the pack or comes up the steps. And it says, in this city block below lies a time capsule dedicated on November 6th, 2020. We hope future generations get a glimpse into Federal Way's past when it is opened in 2050. Quote, the best way to predict your future is to create it. President Abraham Lincoln. And it's dated today's date, November 6th, myself, Council President Honda, and the 7 members of the City Council. And so that's what the plaque says. But I do want to say that I would really appreciate all of the folks that have dedicated their artifacts and Tyler, actually I didn't see the time capsule itself. Is it in the room in there? Oh, where is it? Oh. It's the big cement block out there. It actually kind of blends. When I first saw the time capsule over at the Public Works yard, I thought, this looks like an Egyptian crypt or something. It's a big box. Susan Honda tells me there's room in me to get in there, but I've opted not to. So I want to thank the team members of our city who made this happen, including our Public Works Department, Parks Department, and of course Spectrum Management. This gives them a big round of applause. Most importantly, thank you to all the neighbors and organizations that contributed items, or what I like to call artifacts, representing our community. At my State of the City address, right in this very building in February, which seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? When I first shared with you the vision for this time capsule, it is really actually an effort that we refer to as Vision 2050. As I thought about this time capsule, about what the time capsule represents, I thought about some important questions that I think each and every one of us probably ask ourselves all the time. What will Federal Way look like in another 30 years? What lessons and tales of experience can we impart to those 30 years in the future? As the time capsule plaque proclaims, quote, we hope future generations get a glimpse into Federal Way's past when it is opened in 2050. Ralph Waldo Emerson once remarked that, quote, there is properly no history, only biography. And isn't that true? Isn't it true that really it's a tapestry, a mosaic of biographies all together, work together. When this time capsule is opened, it will be an enthusiastic hello to 2050 from 2020, which has been quite the year, as you know. They will see the spirit, accomplishments, and stories of the city of people, not just landmarks. As you look at the items on display today that will be carefully tucked into the time capsule, these contributions show the full depth and breadth of experience of our community. We all know 2020 is a unique one. Together, we're experiencing a pandemic and working together towards essential social change and social justice. As a community, we've worked together to help our families, friends, and neighbors get support during a challenging time. All in the backdrop of a historic presidential election. Trust me, we'll make sure that we have all the headlines from today's date contained in the time capsule, and so along with all the other artifacts. Because our community has banded together, those in 2050 will see that together, by Providence, we have helped create a better city, region, and nation for all. The story this time capsule is telling is, quote, the future is what you make it. It is for all these reasons that the dedicatory plaque has one of my favorite quotes by President Abraham Lincoln. I ask you carry this in your hearts for the next 30 years when we celebrate the arrival and opening of this time machine. He said, the best way to predict your future is to create it, one day at a time. Thank you for attending today. Really appreciate it. All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Check out all the artifacts in there and make sure you stay socially distanced.